The New Monkey opened October 99, but it had a different idea to the Rave. Apparently it was going to be some sort of house club, which was a load of bullshit in the end. It was just a rave.
I was there on the opening night, but it was like, they used to play house music then. It wasn't like Makina. And when it opened, it wasn't as busy as everyone expected, but it just gradually got better and better and better.
Yeah, you used to have rave clubs. It was the Coliseum, and when that was opened, After Dark 2 was still going. The two people under at the same time, which was the Robs, which were the gangsters back then. Coliseum shut, After Dark picked up, and then obviously that was due to shut because the Robs still owned it, and then David Mal owned it later. So the New Monkey was the next one what was coming. You've got one in Shields, you've got one in Sunderland, you've got one crowd to fill two clubs, so obviously only one of them's going to be full. So until the After Dark shut, it was kind of shit. It took a while to kick off, but because it wasn't at over 18s and they had no drink licence, you got a lot of young ones like probably saying to their mum was staying at such and such tonight, and they're probably in the New Monkey, having the best night of their life, you know what I mean? So for the younger generation, it took a massive impact because obviously you could get in if you were under 18. You can't get in nightclubs, you know what I mean?
The outside of the club was a dilapidated bingo hall with no windows, not a lot going for it really. It didn't look very appealing. There was nothing round it. It wasn't in the centre. It wasn't in. There was nothing sort of. There was there was a few houses here and there, and it was on its own, which was again part of the attraction.
Well, it didn't look too good from the outside. Could do with a lick of paint, like.
It just looked rough as out, you know what I mean? When you walk up it, tries to shut her down and that, and when you walked in, there was a glass front.
You had a big dance floor. You had a chill-out room, serve food, pot noodles, ice pops, etc.
And then you'd look up, and there was like a balcony with the MCs on, big balcony going all the way along.
Everybody likes to chill out on the balcony, you know. You'd get up on the balcony and you'd look over watching the DJs, or you'd go to the other balcony on the other side of the building, and that one was where the MCs were. If you walked all the way along into the corner, you could look over at the DJ, so you were higher than the DJ because the DJ box was raised. You'd look down at the DJs, you could watch them mix, and on the plus side there was a little hole in the ceiling that would leak, kind of leak on you and cool you down as well, which was a bonus because it was a sweat box.
You could tell it was run down, you know what I mean, but I don't know, I just had something about it, like, just the setup was perfect.
It wasn't just that you were going to the New Monkey at Club so-and-so, you were going to the New Monkey. And that was special in itself as well. There's not that many clubs or, there's not many brands around that do that. That was a bit of an old school thing, old school rave thing.
I'll not describe the toilets like. Well, I can't actually like them. I like not train spotting the toilets. That's what the toilets were like.
There was rarely trouble. There was less trouble in there than there was in any nightclubs or the town centre or whatever. The atmosphere was a rave atmosphere. It was people were there for one thing only. They were there to dance, listen to favourite music, favourite MCs, DJs. It's what you want from a rave. It's not what you don't go for. Kind of egos and stuff like. Everybody sort of knew what everyone was there for. So it was, and there was, you could stop somebody walking past you and where you from, mate, and you'd just instantly you were getting a 5-minute conversation out of them, where they were from and who they came with, and you'd know somebody who they came with or whatever, and there it was, friend for life. Monkey generation, I suppose, was defined by the MCs. The MCs went up a gear, and there was like a crowd of like, you know, 6 or 7 that were the pinnacle of MCing.
MC G-Force, he helped us loads. He took us to one side and gave us advice. Stomping's the #1 really, like. Techno T as well, in his day was one of the best, like. First time was at the Hangar 13. This kid was on the mic. I just went up to him, I says, oh, I'm on the rotor here. I was just blagging it, like, and I says, I'm on the rotor, so it's my turn. Oh, I no problem. And I started emceeing, and DJ Scott sussed that I was just blagging it and kicked us off. I was only on for about 5 minutes, like. From there, like, I entered the MC competition. I come second in that. And then the week after, I'd done the warm-up session with Turbo D. And then after that, it was like every week for a while. Like.
It was 2002. I spoke to Keith Matrix, I asked him for a set, so he put us on the guest list. I went up and I'd done about a quarter of a set, half a set with DJ Nitro, and he got my phone number and he says, I'll phone you, I'll have you on next week. But by the time he had the chance to phone us, I've got a friend through Chester Street, and she'd been speaking to Davey Mullen and told him I'd have a listen to the set. And she says, he's over the moon. She says, he's going to phone you, and there's going to be a set every week. So I got a phone call off his number, and he was like, hello, it's Davey Mullen. He said, Turbo D. He says, I was outstanding. He went, there's a job there for you every week. I want to see you up there every week. And just went from there.
Davey, who had the after talk, he obviously told we'd got the place over Sunderland. I think the first real time we went in was the Millennium, New Year's Eve. We went through the door, and it was the club's first time, you know what I mean? Well, all our mates were in the after talk, and like we said we'd kick the monkey off for Davey when there was about fucking 20, 30 people, and it was New Year's Eve. So we just looked around for this, found this guy with his hat on and his white gloves and a glow stick. He says, you want to be an MC the night, mate? Yeah, okay, there's the night. We all fucking off to the after talk, and this kid was buzzing his chops off, you know what I mean? Don't know whether he was good or not. We just knew he'd got the job. You know, that was my first experience of the monkey.
I knew at some point I had to do the new monkey because it was on every week, and the CDs were coming out every week. So if you wanted to get known, that was a place to do. Like, you had to do it. Like.
To hear your songs, to like a song, you have to hear it a few times because you didn't know how to dance to it. You didn't know what's happening next to it, the arrangement and stuff. The songs was absolutely massive now. You used to wipe the floor in After Dark for about 6 weeks, but they used to bring weekly tapes out. So people used to buy them tapes, hear them tapes hour and hour again, pass it to their friends and stuff like that. And then they became like massive because they knew them then.
When Scott first brought Makina in, it's like any new music genre, you've got to introduce it slowly. Like, they weren't taken to it. They wanted all this old shit to be played, where Scott was always about the new stuff, you know, Makina and what's have you, and German trance and that.
One was looking for the next big thing, and this Spanish stuff come in, and it didn't really work at first. You used to get a couple more every week that on, and that was late 97, and then 98 they started to get more and more, and then by 99 it was loads of it, but it was hard to get because obviously the imports. You just had to go all over the country find bits and bobs of it. Like you got the North East Rave scene, which only big in the North East. The Makina's only big in Barcelona.
There'd have been nowhere else that would take a 20-year-old Spanish techno tune, a 15-year-old German trance tune, and mix them in to an Italian dance tune from the 90s with old school New York hardcore tune, which was, you know, made, and you'd mix them all together in a set. And that was ours, and can't think of anywhere else where you'd get that. A lot of it was old European music. It was the North East, you know, we knew about it.
Scott Brown used to make bouncy techno in the early 90s up Scotland, and that was big down here. So it's kind of an advanced stage of that, and that's what we love, you know what I mean? And that's why the North East scene is different everywhere else.
It eventually became popular in there, but when it first came, the monkey wasn't about Makina when it first started off. It was only just about playing all the old stuff.
You know, change is good, difference is good. It's like, you know, it's not necessarily out with the old, in with the new, it's just in with the new. Monkey.
The new Monkey was like a cult thing. It was all young'uns. It was mainly young'uns, yeah, there's one or two old ones, but mainly a younger generation thing. You know, and they all had the stripy jumpers, Rockports, uniform. They reminded us of the skinheads years ago, you know what I mean? It literally became a cult thing. Rave up to before that point hadn't been about a certain section of society, it had been about everybody.
In the early days, there was a lot about drugs in the scene, like pills were 20 quid and that, so you had gangsters and wide boy fighting over the drug scene. I want to sell them, I want to sell them. But as a new Monkey went on, well, pills, you could pick them up for $5, there was no money left in it. By the time I was starting to do stuff, all the bad stuff and all other people had been and gone, because like when they first came in 91 and that, or 90, that's when you were getting 20 quid a pill. Obviously, if you had 1,000 pills, it's a lot of money, you know what I mean? So that's why you had the drug wars and people fighting and all that. They just wanted a piece of the cake, you know what I mean? And it's like, obviously, less money in it, people can do something else. So it wasn't really any different, apart from it didn't have the drug dealers or the gangsters, because when the Coliseum got raided, well, all them went to jail.
The bust at the Coliseum was over the top. I was surprised the new Monkey got away with it as long as it did. You know, don't get me wrong, people just go in there enjoying themselves. You know what I mean? For me, they should be investigating they should fucking ban alcohol. Look the state of the streets after the pub shut. You know what I mean? Once the police started doing clamping down and doing like cases on them, and it was game over. Game over. But it was good while it lasted. It was good while it lasted.
I had a small involvement in Operation Chichester because obviously I was exposed and gave evidence under Operation Peanut. I did act in an advisory role. It was on a much smaller scale. At the time, the new Monkey was opened without a drinks licence, classed as a private members club. In Operation Chichester was about 100 officers, and I think there was about 18 arrests at the time.
I was actually in the chill-out room when it happened, and I went to go to the toilet at the back of the chill-out room, and I seen like all the police raiding the place. So I went back in the chill-out room, and they just had all of us, strip searched us, little daft interview, and then basically like photo and then on your way. So they came up in coach loads, but it all been planned, because all the like ultraviolet light bulbs, they would just take them out and put like normal bulbs in, not just to light everywhere up. But the neighbours and that were complaining about, like, cause when we used to close at 7, people used to leave at 7 and all that, and it was like there was houses around, so the neighbours were putting the damper on a lot.
It was tainted from the minute they sort of branded it as the new Monkey. It was always going to be something that Northumbria Police were going to look at closely.
And it actually, when it got raided, it closed down for 6 months, I think, and then it opened back up. And I remember the opening night, it was unbelievable. And then the police just kept on coming outside, saying anyone who goes in, that's getting arrested and that. So some of the doormen didn't want to work there no more, and it just come to the point where we were going up every week, and there was just, some people didn't even want to go in because there was that many police outside saying whoever goes in, he's getting arrested and that. So they just killed it off, they did.
The Monkey holds legendary status and is still talked about and still missed because it was an era-defining club. There was a full generation that latched onto it and grew up through it. It was our get out, it was our scene, it was our thing to follow.
After Dark 1, that was private members all nighter, and then you had the Coliseum, the venue. The Blue Monkey was the same. The new Monkey was the last one, and you'll never ever get that again.
I think it was the people You'd never seen so many happy people in all of your life. It was this big family of people.
It was as if being a young kid, it was just wanting to explore his oneself and just go somewhere and just let it all loose. They were all of a sudden deemed as scum and things like that, and they weren't criminals. They were just young kids who wanted to enjoy themselves.
The music scene took people out of their humdrum lifestyle. It had its day. And you've got to remember, there were some fatalities. We can't sugarcoat the reality of it. And I'm sure it played a massive part in people's lives. I'm sure there are some people who met their wives or their husbands there, or their first love. But I'm sure if they look back and they ask themselves the question if it was their son or daughter engaging in the drug activities that were going on there, I'm sure they would think long and hard about it.